Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be tying up one of, if not the most popular Irish shrimps there are. One that can be used from the start of the season right through till the end of the season. So for Irish shrimps, I always use quite a larger tag than normal, so the rib and the tag will be different. So I've actually, it's the size 12, so I'm going to use a medium tag. Okay, so just adding on my thread there up to the end of the shank and where I can see the hook points, and then I'm going to do 2 or 3 turns to create a nice tag, and then tuck that in underneath, and then a couple of wraps to secure it. Okay, and just I always cut off around the halfway mark. Okay, neaten it up. Now before we add on the tail, I'm going to add on a little bit of flesh. And I like to put on the flesh before the tail so then it comes through in the centre. So this is just gold crystal flesh, micro gold crystal flesh. Okay, it's just a couple of strands. 3 or 4 strands there. Okay, cut off my excess at the front. And for the tail of the fly, it's going to be golden pheasant. Okay, so I've already removed the fluff, and for the size, I normally have this where the top fibres are normally a little bit longer than the hook you're using. I do have a video of it. Check it out of how to tie Irish shrimp fly tails. I'll put it in the description below. Okay, so I've just exposed the tip. I'm going to tie in at this tip and just bring the fibres down towards the tail. So that gives me plenty of space to tie in, probably about 7 or 8 turns on it, as opposed to your regular 3. And then I don't actually use my scissors to double it, I just use a wet hand. Just draw those fibres into the stalk as best I can. Some of them will point forwards, that's okay, we'll get them later. And then just sweep on as a normal hackle. After every turn, just double those fibres back again. Okay, so we've got good 2 turns of that tail, so I'm happy enough with that there. So just secured the stalk in. I'm going to make sure any fibres going forward are pulled back. Okay, and then again cut off the stalk at the halfway point. Because for Irish shrimp flies very easily have the 2 sections of body a different length. Now what you can do is you can use your scissors or a pin to make sure that this is well evened tail, but what I do is I remove the hook and just look up the rear. And if I blow, it normally spreads the fibres quite evenly throughout, and then I just wet it. Okay, and then I just put the hook back on. Holding those fibres back, I'm going to just continue to tie on right onto the tag, which means that it's not the stalk that's holding the fibres, it's the tag, or it's the thread. Okay, and then as that dries, you'll see that that's well spread out. Okay, so the first part of the body is going to be, well, the rib's going to be silver tinsel. So this is a small silver, as this is a size 12 patriot. So I'm going to tie that in underneath. Okay. I'll just hide some of that flesh from earlier. And then for the body, you can use yellow floss, but I'm going to use yellow fur. Okay. You could use yellow light braid, it's entirely up to yourself. So not too much, but for dubbing it, I just rub it on one direction. You use both hands if you prefer. until you start to see a bit of a dubbing noodle. You don't have to have too much. And then I start to do those last few turns down to the tail. And what that does is that'll give me an anchor. So that actually secures that fur. So as I twist, it'll twist into that anchor. So it's a lot easier to dub on. Okay. And you're going up to about the halfway point here. And then any of the fur going back, just sweep that. Any fur going forward, just sweep that. Then follow that up with your rib. So you're wanting 3 turns here for the rear of the body. And then secure that in. Okay. At this stage, if you wanted, you could get a bit of Velcro. I'm not going to, but you can get a wee bit of Velcro and draw out some of those bits of fur underneath. You could use a needle. It's entirely up to yourself. A dubbing needle, funny enough. But I'm going to leave it as is because it's quite a light dubbing anyway. So the next part is going to be your mid-hackle. So for the mid-hackle, we have hot orange. So you've seen me do this before. I just break off the tip. Then expose a few fibres. Okay, wax my thread. And then tie in at that break off. Pull the fibres going forward back. And that means within 4 or 5 turns you have a very secure doubled up hackle stock. Then I just train all the fibres to point into the stock using the blunt side of my scissors. Now folks, if you haven't already guessed, you'll probably know this is the band special. One of my most favourite Irish shrimp flies. If it's your favourite too, let me know in the comments, or even let me know what your favourite Irish shrimp fly is. There's plenty to choose from. But this has to be up there for some of the great ones. Okay, so I've removed a wee bit of the fibres for that last turn. Okay, and then just gonna tie down that stalk. Now the fibres, you want to go about the back of the hook, which I'm very happy with. The front hackle is going to be slightly shorter. Okay, so as before, the rib is going to be silver oval for the front. And I always like to secure the rib below. Okay, see a wee rogue fibre there. Okay, so just secure that rib in below. And before you get back to the hackle, start adding on your dubbing. So I used yellow at the rear, then the front is going to be black. A little bit less this time, as it's a little bit less than, basically a little bit more than half at the rear, a little bit less at the front. 3/5 and 2/5. So again, what I've done is I started with dubbing, and then I'm going to tie on down, which means I can then anchor that dubbing on, making sure that whenever you're twisting, you don't twist any of the hackle stalks or the hackle fibres. And after every turn, if you want, you can tighten up that dubbing if you want it loose or tight. It's entirely up to yourself. Okay. Then just pull that back, pull all the fur going forward back, and then follow up with your rib. Okay, so 2 turns will do for this one. One, and then a couple of turns. Let's just secure that in. At this stage I'm going to change the thread colour. So I'm going to just pull that fur back again. Then I'm going to whip finish backwards. 1. Okay, and that will just be enough to secure that thread when I change the colour. You can use a red head, you can use fluorescent head, it's entirely up to yourself. I'm going to remove the white, I'm going to put on a black. Okay, so just add on your black thread onto the head area. And then just continue your fly. Okay, so next we're going to add some jungle cock. So just a feather on each side. You could add this on his eyes if you prefer. It's entirely up to yourself. And I just tie them on loosely at this stage, a couple of turns, and then I adjust them. Okay, happy with that there. And then, before going any further, just add a wee bit of super glue onto the thread, and that'll give that jungle cock a really secure hold. It's nothing worse than footering about the jungle cock and then it slipping. Okay, so just check again. Happy with that there. Those super glue thread wraps will give a very secure hold. Okay, and just trim off your excess. And then we'll go on to the final hackle. So you may have known that a lot of people would use the silver badger. I preferred the more natural stuff. So this is like a creamy silver with black tips. So it's probably more traditional what the originals would have had. I guess the original probably wouldn't have had jungle cock as well. Okay, so I've just broken off the tip. Just break that again actually. Just broken off the tip. And I'm going to wax my thread. I'm going to tie in at that tip. And that'll be extremely well held because you also have the super glue wraps. It's still a little bit tacky at this stage. Holding that down. Okay, and then we'll just train our fibres like before. You can then point inwards. And with a wet hand, just sweep them. And then just wind your hackle on. Oh, start that again. Okay. Quite a few of these fibres are pointing forwards. We'll get them whenever we're secured in. Okay, so a few turns. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sweep everything back, including the stalk. At this stage, this will double up the stalk, but it'll also give me a very secure head. Okay, and then we'll just cut off our excess. You can see it's a bit different from the normal. It's a bit, I don't know what the term is, shaggier looking than whenever you use the silver badger. I just find it works better, and it's worked well for me in the past. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And then the last thing I need to do is just get our finish tool and 5 turns or so of that there. Trim it off, and that's your band special, folks. As I said, a deadly Irish shrimp fly. But do let me know your favourite Irish shrimp fly. Hopefully you found that useful, and as always, give us a like below. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so, and do check out the other videos. Some of them will be coming up on screen now. Until next time, all the best. Thank you.